Hello folks, welcome back to another video. We haven't had those in a while. In this video, I just wanted to address one problem that some of you have reported, that you have performance problems when it comes to using your virtual machines, and I just wanted to walk you through a way to solve this by setting up SSH connections to your VM and then using the remote connection from VS Code to actually speed things up and work very in a much smoother way. So let's take a look. I have here a Ubuntu VirtualBox. It's running Ubuntu server, not the Ubuntu GUI that you have, but it's going to be the same thing. As long as you can get access to a terminal for just 2 minutes, you're in pretty good shape. So let's take a look at what we're going to do. So first thing, I'm going to log into my VM. And once I do that, I will install, so apt install -y OpenSSH server. So that's the first thing you want to do. You want to install the OpenSSH server. I already have it installed, but what you're going to see is that it's going to install for you. For me, it tells me that it's already installed, and then the server is going to auto start on your machine. Okay, so that's step number one. Step number two is I'm going to go to the settings for the VM. You don't have to kill the VM while doing that. And then I'm going to go to network. On adapter 1, go to advanced, select port forwarding, and add a new rule. Make sure to leave the protocol being TCP. For the host port, enter 2222. For the guest port, you have to enter the number 22. So this is creating kind of like a virtual connection between the machine that is running the VM and the VM itself, what we call the host and the guest. So let's go ahead and click OK, and now everything is running. So now if I drop into a terminal on my host machine, this is my own laptop, I just do SSH, I pass the port number, which is 2222, the one for the host, and I just say Ubuntu at localhost, and that is just hit enter. I had a very small thing I have to fix here. Known hosts line 20. So you don't have to do that. So we will. There we go. And I remove this guy. Okay. So let's assume that didn't happen. SSH-p 2222 Ubuntu at localhost. So you're gonna type yes when this prompt comes in, and you're gonna enter your password, and there you go. You have a terminal running on your Ubuntu VM. One thing you can do, a few things that we're gonna look at. So let's go ahead and kill that VM. So one way to cause a VM to power off is you just do sudo init 0, and then it's gonna die. What you can do after that is you can go to your VM and click the little arrow next to the start and choose headless start. So that will not pop up in a window of itself. It will run in the background, just like, we fork a child and it runs a process in the background. This is going to run the entire virtual machine in the background. So you can see the preview here. If you want to, you can show it at any point in time. But even if I close VirtualBox, things would still be working. So let's try to log in again. It's CSSE 332. And there you go. This is my virtual machine. You can check the host name is Ubuntu. Who am I? I'm also Ubuntu. So this is a good setup. So in case you want, so if you are comfortable with doing things from the terminal, you use like Vim or Emacs or anything of that sort, you are good to go. You don't have to pop up a GUI. You don't have to do anything else. You're ready to go. If you want to simplify the login process, so instead of typing this long thing, let's see, SSH. Instead of typing this long thing every single time, we can do is to edit a file called .ssh and then config, and then we're going to add an entry to ease things up for us. So I'm going to add a host called Ubuntu, and then the host name for that one is localhost. The user is Ubuntu with a lowercase, and the port is 2222. Okay, So this way, now I just say SSH12 and I drop into the terminal. The last thing I wanted to say is if you want to not enter the password every single time, here's what you have to do. Step 1, SSH keygen, and then you pass -TRSA and -B 2048. So this is your generating a public-private key pair that you can use to skip the process of entering a password every single time. So I'm not going to generate this because I already have my keys and I don't want to overwrite them, but you just press enter and keep pressing enter on the default values, and you will have a private key and a public key created under the directory. So if I go into .ssh, looking at here, IDRSA is my private key, IDRSA.pub is my public key. You want to keep this one private, and this is the one you share with other people. You can set it up on GitHub. You can set it up for SSH connections and so on. Next up is I want to copy this public key into the virtual machine. So I'm just going to do SSH copy ID, and -I is the key file that I want to send. So it's ID rsa.pub. And then I specify the port 2222, and then the host Ubuntu at localhost. So this is going to ask me for the password one last time, and then it's going to say that it added the public key, and then if I just type SSH Ubuntu, I directly drop into a shell. Okay, so I highly recommend if you're having issues with your virtual machine that you do this. This is going to save you a lot of time in having to sit through all of the weird animations that the new versions of Ubuntu have. I wish they kept the old stuff, but this is what we have to do. Is there are other flavors of Ubuntu called Lubuntu, which come at a much lighter weight, but I think this is a much better solution. In the next video, we're going to see how do we link our VS Code to actually run on the host machine, so run on my machine, but then at the same time go and compile and run things on the virtual machine. So I'll see you in the next video.